This is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 6. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking right now at 6. An Orange County jury just found Markeith Loyd guilty of murdering his ex-girlfriend and her unborn baby. It took the jury 5.5 hours to convict Markeith Loyd. Relatively quick in terms of juries weighing this sort of a case. Good evening, I'm Greg Wormuth.
And I'm Martha Sigowski. Right now we have you covered. Channel 9's Field Sutton has been there for every minute of this trial and is joining us live outside the courtroom right now. And Field, Markeith had no reaction when this verdict was read.
Which has essentially been the way that he has acted throughout this actual trial process. Of course, we're used to him being very, very colorful as he sits there having uninvited outbursts normally when there was not a jury in the room. But we've seen the softer, gentler Markeith Loyd, which has continued now all the way through the trial to this verdict. We might as well just go ahead and take a listen now. Here is just a couple of seconds of sound that we've been waiting now for 3 years. We have an answer.
We, the jury, find as follows. As to count 1 of the charge, the defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
So in just those few seconds, this became a death penalty case. This is now a case that starting next Monday, the jury will reconvene, hear a whole bunch more testimony. In fact, what I understand to be a longer case in terms of number of days, number of witnesses, things that we'll be sitting through than this actual guilt phase of the trial was. And at the end of that, they will either come to a unanimous decision to recommend the death penalty here, or they will not. Another thing that's important to note is that was count 1 you just heard. Count 2 was for the death of Sade Dixon's unborn baby. There had been a whole lot of talk about whether or not an entire jury would feel comfortable with punishing him for that, saying that he is guilty of killing an unborn child who was just 12 or 13 weeks old. There was some controversial testimony in here that that child was not viable outside the womb. No one knew how the jury was going to react, and yet they have thrown the book at Markeith Loyd at this point, finding him guilty of the highest possible charge on every count here. And now it is time to move forward and decide whether or not Markeith Loyd deserves the death penalty for this.
Right, Field Sutton joining us live there, who has covered this case, as has Channel 9 legal analyst Bill Schaefer. When it comes to the guilty verdict of the unborn child, that is fairly groundbreaking here, and they did they brought it home. They said that baby would be 2 years old, like last week would have been that baby's birthday, and so the jury accepted that that baby at 3 months old was viable.
Greg, it's going to be interesting to see what the jury recommends as far as the penalty. Why? We've had several cases where the state has asked for the death penalty, and one might argue that certainly we thought, yes, they're going to get the death penalty recommendation in this case, and they haven't gotten it so far. I believe this will be the first case since Ayala's announcement that she wasn't going to pursue death penalty, and it's been taken away from her, and these cases prosecuted by other prosecutors. If he gets the death penalty in this case, I think it will be the first one. Can you recall any other where the jury has recommended death since that announcement?
There has not been, and the unborn child, the reason I bring that up is that's one of those situations that really could upset the jury. It's one thing that Sade Dixon was shot and killed. She brought a gun downstairs. Her brother got involved. There were some shots that went back towards the door, but maybe that could be what pushes them over the edge and come back 12-0.
It may well be. It may well be. I mean, where is the defense in that? Where is, how do you argue the even lack of humanity as to that? That is the factor that may put this over the top in the juror's mind as far as the death penalty recommendation.
And Bill, apparently we have an update now live from the courthouse. We want to go to Field Sutton. Field, we understand that you have an update for us?
I do, because I can tell you that our own Ken Tyndall just talked with Stephanie Dixon Daniels, the mother of Sade Dixon, also a witness in this case who testified, who we all heard from a couple of days ago. You know, she has watched her daughter be dragged through the mud, her name dragged through the mud, talking about drug use, about gun possession, things that no parent wants to hear about a child. So the bottom line for her is she is ecstatic. Ken has talked to her on camera. We're going to be trying to turn around some of that sound for you shortly, but I can tell you she is absolutely ecstatic to know that Markeith Loyd now faces the death penalty for what he did to her daughter, to her unborn grandson, to her son, to her, and to her other son, all of whom were there that night, all of whom had criminal charges relating to either attempted murder or murder to members of that family. I mean, this has been 3 years of really tough emotional times for them, waiting so long for this to come to trial, and now finally they have their answer. Now it's just a question of punishment.
And again, just to remind you, we'll have full coverage tonight on Eyewitness News. Bill Schaefer, our legal analyst. Now the penalty phase starts on Monday. 12 jurors all must agree to the death penalty, or otherwise it would be life in prison without the possibility of parole.
And
I'm sorry, Mark.
you brought up a good point, and playing off of you, Greg, when we expected and we've seen Markeith's outbursts and behavior in court, he remained under control and in control as the verdict was read. And you brought up a good point as to why you thought he remained calm and quiet.
Markeith is not a stupid man, and Markeith knows now that his life is virtually in the hands of those 12 jurors. It can't benefit him at all to act out, and you're going to see him on his best behavior, the best behavior that Markeith knows how to behave.
Life in prison is one thing. Living on death row in isolation 23 hours a day, waiting for your number to be called, is entirely different. Thank you, Bill Schaefer. All right, we'll continue with our coverage tonight on Eyewitness News. At this hour,